following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everyone, it's Christine.
I'm Jada. Hi, Christine.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. I shoved a lifesaver in my mouth really quick. They're going to get the juices flowing, and too many flowing of the juices, and I was like, I can't talk. So, hi everyone. We are at episode 63. Can you believe that? It's crazy. It is insane. It has been crazy. So, Jada, hello.
Yes. Hi.
Today we're talking about broken to barrier breaker. And we have a guest today that's going to come on and talk to us about how she picked herself up from her bootstraps, from being rock bottom. And I think she wants to talk about, breaking those barriers and getting up and moving forward. And I can't tell you how many times in my life I've had to pull my ass up and keep going once I got knocked down. And the longest I've stayed down is because I was dazed and confused. And then I'm like, okay, wait, now I've got to step forward, get up, and not only get up and keep moving forward, but move beyond where I was. I no longer believe in 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's 1 step back. Fuck off. I'm doing 20 steps forward.
I'm actually really excited because I don't know. I would love to hear her input and insight, because I think we've all been there. We've all had major, crazy, setbacks that lead us to feel like we're helpless. Like lead us to feel like, oh my God, what do I do now? So I think this is a really good topic. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I have a friend right now who called me crying the other day saying, and I won't say who it was because I respect her privacy, but she was really torn up. She is struggling with work stuff, finances. She's really struggling, and she has hit rock bottom. Like really seriously rock bottom. And I said, use it as a bouncing block. Use it like you've hit the bottom and you're springing back up, and you're getting yourself not only higher up in that hole, get your ass out of that hole. And I did a whole manifesting thing with the new moon about releasing all that old shit and moving forward. And we've all been there, every single person.
But
and
I
if
think
you've never been there,
treasure. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. The
I was
treasure.
just going to say, I think the treasure is when you can see past it, right? Because when we're in that moment, you don't know, like, what do I do? Like, some people hit that rock bottom and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, or they don't see it, which is hard. I've been there. It's really, really hard. So I think having the tools and just things to help you get a clear picture is it's so necessary, because when you don't know, you don't care. You can be in the moment and have your friend say, oh, you'll make it, you'll be fine. But when you're in that moment, you don't give a shit. You're like, you're not where I am. I'm not going to make it. Like, I need help. So I think this is a really, really powerful topic. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, for me, I try really hard not to do what you were just saying about You'll be fine. Tomorrow's another day. That shit feels hopeless. That you just don't know. It's not helpful. And it makes you think, why did I call my friends? Right. For me, what I really strive to do when someone comes to me for that, and myself, these are my practices, that I take a step back, pull something in front of me that distracts me, that moves me on a path, meaning I take paper or notebook and I write down all the things that I want to get rid of, that's blocking me, that's stopping me from doing things. Then I do the same thing. I write on another piece of paper, what can I do? What is open or possible for me? What do I want? If I don't know what to do, what do I want? And then what steps do I need to take to get those things? And I also try to tell people the universe hurts us to help us. Sometimes things are removed in our lives.
My God. I'm about to write that down, by the way.
The universe hurts us to help us. And sometimes we don't know what the bigger picture is. The universe does. So it removes something out of our lives. Now, what I fucking realized, you know how much I manifest, Jada? I realized the other day
I do.
that my let's just say it's the universe. Okay, let's just give it a name. I'm going to give it the universe. It heard me. And it says, well, you can't have this if that hole is filled with that. So I'm going to remove that from your life so that what you've been manifesting can come in. And sometimes people get hung up on what's being removed and not staying focused on what is coming. So I try to say that a lot. The universe hurts us to help us. And I try to remember when I'm down, this is a practice that I try to do. I say, okay, this is what I want. I'm not going to focus on what I don't want anymore because, this is what I want. And if I get a no, if what I want gives me a no, what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the very worst thing that could happen? And then I write that down. What's the worst thing? And guess what? That's not as bad as what I'm going through. So it's okay to go for it, because if you're already prepared for the worst and you can handle it, then a no means nothing. A no means maybe the next one, and yes for the next one. You know what I mean? So
I love it. You are a master manifester.
I'm killing it these days. I am killing it.
I know.
I was manifesting unexpected money like crazy. Okay. Like crazy. And the amount of unexpected money coming from all these different directions is unbelievable. And I was manifesting career opportunities and things that were going to bring me an abundance, nonstop abundance amount of money, an excessive amount. And I've been doing that. And the shit that's coming in now is crazy. But the stuff that's being removed,
I love it,
is insane. So I had to stop the other day and think, okay, it's being removed because it needs a space for that stuff to come in. And I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. So, yeah.
I love talking to you. You're so positive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, I'm sure, Jada, you've been through shit that's made you have to pick yourself up. And I want to talk to Denise. Denise Schroder is our guest. I'm super excited to talk to her. Let's talk to her. I'm going to give you a breakdown of her little thing. I'm going to read it to you. She's talking to us about Broken to Barrier Breaker. She is a coach, a speaker, marketing strategist, realtor, and an author of a new book out called Out of the Box. She is able to truly go from broken to barrier breaker, and she's going to share her story with us today. So Denise is going to talk about how she rose to the challenge after she was told that she would never get into real estate. And now she is like this major kick-ass real estate agent. And I think she does a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to let her tell us. But Denise's journey from broken to barrier breaker has affected or encompassed her entire life. The negative words spoken to her, while temporarily debilitating her, eventually became the fuel that took her goals from being dreams to being reality. After many trials and failures, Denise married her FedEx guy, Troy.
Stop it.
And they blended 5 teenagers.
Oh
She and Troy both quit their jobs on the same day to become unemployed and chase the American dream. Together, they used unique storytelling that freezes the scroll on social media to build a brand and successfully stand out in the real estate industry where she was told she'd never be able to do it. So today, she's going to spill the beans and the tea about how to do that, how to step out of your comfort zone and to really step out of the box. So let's bring in Denise.
Hi, ladies.
Excited. Hi, Denise.
I'm excited to be with you guys. You guys are bringing me energy just listening to you.
Look at your beautiful face. I'm so happy to have you.
I had full glam today.
Background, beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. It's my FedEx guy behind me and all
the
pictures you see.
I love it.
He looked good in those brown shorts.
Oh, well, in FedEx, I got in trouble because FedEx wears navy. UPS wears brown. Because I said, hey, I waved at you in the brown truck the other day. He's like, that's UPS.
I love it. So let's start. Let's get your background, Denise. What were you doing before you hit the bottom? What was your life like then?
Abbreviated version is my mom was married when I was 18 months old. My father was, unfortunately, he was abusive to my mother, and he threw a beer bottle at her, not with the intention to hit me. It hit me, cracked my skull open. I had an emergency craniotomy, and I've had migraines my entire life due to that abuse.
Wow.
The few times I went to visit him in Phoenix, Arizona, he took me on a drug run to Tijuana with 2 of my half siblings. He was a dope dealer, whatever, a marijuana dealer. And so I didn't have a lot of interaction with him after that, obviously, because my mother was scared shitless. So it wasn't a great, situation. I had abandonment issues and things like that with my real father, but my mom remarried an amazing man that is my father, that has raised me. He's a farmer. So he taught me incredible work ethic. Wow. I had a beautiful childhood from there on out. And I got married probably too soon. I had like this New York City dream that I was like going to be the Sex and the City girl. I'm going to go be on Broadway. I was always in all things performative, but I ended up like on a really cheap beer budget, and I ended up in Oklahoma City. So that was my big city. And a lot of opportunities have come from here. So I'm thankful for it. But I came here and I got married, and before I had kids, I was working in property management, and I had a manager that it's leasing apartments, leasing condos. And he, I remember he came up to me and he said, Denise, we don't want to lose you. But he said, I honestly have to tell you, the natural progression for you would be to get your real estate license. Like, you would kill it. And I remember, when someone really sees you, it's like this seed gets planted. So when my kids were, got into pre-K kindergarten, I came and I'd been married almost 10 years to my friends and family. And I said, look, I want to get my license. I know I can do this. I'm in a place where I feel like I can do this. I had stayed at home, devoted a lot of time to the kids. And I was met with, well, you could never do that. You could never stand out. Why would we line the garage walls with superficial, pictures of your face with no yard to stake? What an expensive hobby. So, the dream didn't die, but I definitely suppressed it, because at that time in my life, I was in a place that I felt like I had to have permission to pursue things. I was in a very dysfunctional, toxic. I was kind of, I was a shell of myself. I was a censored, watered down version of me. And I allowed other people to steal my dreams because they didn't have one of their own, and because of their own insecurities.
Yeah.
I realize that now, but when you're in the thick of it and you're just trying to create every idea, thought, decision, everything that you do is to create peace in your environment. I became just a different person that I didn't recognize. And honestly, I couldn't stand because it just wasn't who I was. And
Yeah.
so I saw an advertisement in Oklahoma City at a reproductive center. And I just recently opened up about this when I wrote my book. And I questioned and teetered back and forth, should I even mention this? But I donated my eggs for $1,500 back in 1999. That was a lot of money for me to create a nest egg. I had no resources. I was staying at home. I was humiliated, didn't want to ask for help. I'm very prideful anyway. Didn't want to admit that, I was in a situation that I needed to move forward. And so I gave myself shots, injections for 3 times a day for about 8 to 10 weeks. And I was swollen. I was bruised. I was a hormonal nightmare, and it was all in secret. Like I couldn't even share with anyone.
Can I say something here, Denise?
Yes.
I have to tell you that what you did, you may think that you should have kept it to yourself, and you may think that you only did it for the money, and that's fine. Everybody has gone through that. But I have to say something here. You did an incredibly selfless act. There are people out there who could not have children, who now have children because of you. And I
hope
think that
so.
is extraordinary.
Yeah, I really hope
Extraordinary.
so.
Yeah. And they're going to wind up growing up with these beautiful faces because they had you as an egg donor.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
I truly believe that. So
yes, I did that. That was kind of diabolical, but it was something I felt compelled to do. And I began to hatch a plan, and basically I began seeking separation, divorce. I went through a $50,000 custody battle. And when you were talking about manifesting, outside money, I don't know where all the money came from, but I came out of that $50,000 attorney bill situation over a 3-year period debt free. I don't know how money came to me, blessings came to me. I can't even explain it. But I was blessed and taken care of. So at the same time, I was going through this acrimonious, dark divorce. My mother was 49. I just turned 50 last week. And so she basically got misdiagnosed with a hernia, and she wasn't getting better. So she went in for an exploratory surgery, and the surgeon came out and said, small town hospital. And he said, we have the tumor. It's all encapsulated in her colon. She doesn't even have to do preventative chemo. Well, for the next 14 days, my mom lost about 14 pounds. She was only 90 pounds to begin with. And so I can remember one of my dad's friends, he came to the hospital door and he said, and she said, Betty said, get her out. She's dying. They're killing her. They're charting that she's eating and improving, but she's dying. So they meta-flighted her that night to Oklahoma City. And I can remember sitting in the OR. It was freezing. I could remember just feeling like every organ in my body quivering, thinking this surgeon could save her or fix her or figure out what was going on. And the doors swung open and he came out and he said they mutilated this little girl. And he called her a little girl. We found out later because it's from a small town. Yes. Was she going to say something?
No, I think she's just feeling it.
No.
Okay.
No,
She's just feeling your pain.
So basically, the surgeon that did her first surgery was in a hurry to get to a college football game. And one of the OR nurses from a small town divulged that and left perforations all throughout her colon. And then cancer spread violently and very, very quickly.
Wow.
And so she passed shortly after she turned 50. We watched her die an insufferable death. And so it was very senseless. It was very...
That's sad.
It was
I'm
difficult.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, I was 49, the same age as she was when she got misdiagnosed. And ultimately, was brought to passing. And so it triggered me a little bit this year. Sometimes when you turn 50, that's a sensitive place for a lot of women, but this was more triggering to me. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to have my best year ever. So, but to go back to the divorce, I'm going through that. I'm trying to figure out, what do I grieve? I don't even know what I'm doing. So I finally thought, you know what? I've thrown a life raft out to rescue myself because no one's going to do it. I'm it. And I got a counseling appointment and I went in to this therapist and I said, Kathy, I'm here. I show up for everybody in my life, but today I'm showing up for me.
That's
and
amazing.
I think I'm too broken to be fixed. I said, I'm just going to be honest. Like, don't worry about it if it doesn't work out. But I just don't want the unhealed parts of me to hurt other people. First and foremost, my children.
That's beautiful.
And I knew from this experience that I wanted to make other people, I wanted to spend my life making other people feel less broken. And so I went to therapy for two times a week for 2 years. And fast forward, I had some dating relationships. I had a little hiccups, some mishaps. My picker was still broken a little bit, but I got to a really, really healthy place. And I moved to a suburb to get some distance between my ex-spouse and I. It was just better that way. And I'm working in an office, and in walks the sexiest legs you've ever seen in your life.
In brown shorts and brown socks.
No, navy shorts. Navy. Remember?
Are they navy now?
Navy. No one looks good in brown. So he walks in, and I felt like, I'd known him 1,000 years. We saw each other every day for 5 years before our first date.
Wow.
And I even tried to set him up with some other people.
Who did he finally make the move after 5 years, or did you say, buddy, let's go?
He made the move. He made the move finally. And he gave me his email address to get on MySpace, and I lost it. And
MySpace.
I know
Back
that
in the
I'm
day,
like
MySpace.
showing my age there. And so, yeah, it was crazy. So after our first date, it's, when like I didn't need Tinder. I didn't need Hinge or, whatever these dating apps are, Plenty of Fish. I just needed to be open to my FedEx guy. So that's what I did. And we got married. We blended 5 teenagers. 4 of them were girls. And everybody thought we were like literal nutbags. We were, because the estrogen flowing through that house. My son and Troy wanted to move out for like 9 days a month. It was bad. We survived it. And we quit our jobs on the same day. I think we had been married 10 months. And, you're not supposed to do big things when you have big changes in your life. We got married, and you marry all of them. So lots of changes, meshing all these birth orders and all this. And then we quit our jobs with $30,000 in the bank, which, by the way, wasn't shit. It, with 7 mouths to feed, it doesn't go very far. 3 of them were drivers. We had speeding tickets, braces, it wasn't enough money to do this.
Yeah.
Troy's childhood friend told him, hey, I'm with a financial services company. I'm rocking it. Come along with me. Troy had always wanted to do that. And he said, do you want to do it? And I said, I guess, so I went along, and we found out about 2 months after we quit our jobs that this man was not thriving. He was going bankrupt. He was losing his house. He was losing his car. And so instead of going to our family and saying, look, we're going to pivot, we're not going back to work for the man, we started doing door-to-door sales, and we started buying precious metals when gold and silver was really high back in the day. We did everything that we could to avoid quitting and going back and getting a job.
Yeah.
Wow. So finally he said, do you want to do real estate with me? And I said, are the angels singing right now? Are you kidding me? And so we got our license. And I remember telling him, I sat him down. I said, look, I'm 39. I have waited over 2 decades to do this. Like, this is happening. It's going down in such a big way. You have no idea. And so I said, I want to use the negative seeds that were planted in me that I could never stand out, that I could never make it. And I want to pave our own lane. And, there's 10,000 realtors in my marketplace. It's saturated, but who cares? So we created not only processes and systems, but a killer customer service experience. But we used storytelling and unique approaches to social media to stop that scroll and to stand out and to really anchor with people. So they felt like they're doing life with us, and people want to do business with people they like and they want to hang out with and have a drink with and are excellent and keen at their jobs. And so we started using TV in a massive way. And if I can go back for 1 second, it's a pivotal point in my life, because in 99, I wrote into Oprah and I was having hormone issues. After I had my second baby, I had 2 different doctors, my family doc and my gynecologist said, you have postpartum, just take Wellbutrin and basically sit down and shut up. And I said, I don't have postpartum. I'm trying to tell you, take my blood, do some more tests. They didn't want to do it. So I just emotionally dumped this letter to Oprah, and I never expected to get a response. Well, I got a response in an hour from her lead producer. She said, we're flying out to your house in 72 hours. They flew out. They did 8 hours of filming for my life isn't that interesting. I'm staying at home, but they filmed our story. Then they flew us back to Harpo Studios. Well, when you're on Oprah, you're sitting in the front audience typically. And when she directs a question at you, the audience or the camera pans it to you. No big deal. You're kind of melted in the audience. It's like, I can do this. This is my first speaking gig to speak of. It's on the Oprah show. 10 minutes before we start going live, she says, I want Denise up here with me the entire show. And I'm like, what? So
Go Oprah.
Yeah. So I took a deep breath. I held my shoulders back. I walked up. I sat next to her. I mean, I was trembling. She was doing sign language under her chair because her mules were uncomfortable. So someone changed her shoes. She stood up and unbuttoned her pants and said, I ate too many carbs at lunch. And she looked at me and she kind of came closer to me and got in my ear. And she said, Denise, you're here because you're not afraid to show your darkness. You're not afraid to show your mess, and you're transparent and you're vulnerable. And if you will open yourself up, forget the audience, you can impact millions of women. I want you to look at me, lock eyes with me, and pretend like we're sitting in my living room having a girlfriend chat. Can you do that? And, when she asks you if you can do something, you're like enthusiastically,
you're like, yes,
I can do
Oprah.
that.
Yeah, I can do whatever you want.
So I did. And it was one of the highest rated shows in 1999. I think it came on May 8th. And then I went back to do a follow-up show in 2000. I did not have postpartum depression. She paid for these extensive tests. I had 0 testosterone. It was a very simple fix. I just needed someone to listen to me. So we have to advocate for our own bodies.
Yes.
And I still do that to this day. But my point with that whole story was that was where I learned that if you open yourself up to being vulnerable, that's where the real connection happens and the relatability happens to help others. It's not by just giving your highlight reel or saying, oh my God, I'm overnight success. Look at me. That's not how we relate and change lives. And so, at 39, I was thinking, if I die in 11 years, like my mom did, I put immense pressure on us to succeed. And it was at times it was an unhealthy way. I've since learned margin and balance, but I approached HGTV. They'd never come to Oklahoma City for House Hunters. I don't know if you know that show or not.
Yeah.
I do.
And I said, come to Oklahoma. And they didn't want to come because they thought we were redneck hillbillies. We've got rotten teeth. We don't have good vocabulary. And I said, no, you've got to come here. And so we got them to come, and they've come back now 4 times for us to do exclusive episodes. And then we were able to do Steve Harvey. We went on for Blended Family Experts. And then he asked me to come back to talk about the dangers of teen technology. And I became a private investigator part-time when I had teenagers. It's just the truth of it all. And in conversation, and in conversation with the producer, he was like, she's your lady to come back and talk about this. So
when my kids were teenagers, I should have been more of an investigator, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But I was going through a traumatic divorce at the time. So those teenagers
makes a difference.
Right in that wave of moms being distracted over here.
Oh, yeah.
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 Now it's a different story. I have my last teenager growing up, and oh my God, she's much easier. Thank God.
They think their phone is their own entity. I'm like, I pay for this. You live under my roof. And trust me,
Right.
I didn't like to look at the things that I was finding. But we did get an
Yeah.
app. I give the credit to Steve, but I brought it to his attention. There was an app where we found out one of our teenagers was actually chatting with it was a stranger app. Well, it could have been a 50-year-old man on the other end, and she thinks it's a 14-year-old boy. And I said, no. And so he actually made a lot of strides, and it got taken off of the App Store. So being able to use TV, major network, and storytelling, it has been a way that I've been able to use making a difference in things I'm passionate about. And in the media, it'll always say Oklahoma City Realtors, appear on Steve Harvey. And I just did the Food Network, Worst Cooks in America. It was a comedy, obviously. And
are you a terrible cook?
I'm the freaking worst. I burn everything.
I got to find out which episode, because my boyfriend and I were just about to start watching another episode of that. So I'm going to have to find out, because I
will send you my highlight reel. And the reason why I will do that is because I was on season 20. Season 20 has been wiped. I was very close to one of the contestants that actually won the $25,000. Ariel Robinson. You can Google her. 2 months after she got home and won the money, she was a school teacher, a clean comedian, an inspirational women's speaker. She came home. We found out together when she was filming the show with us that she was going to foster 3 kids, one of them being a little girl named Tori. She murdered that little girl about 2 months after filming, and she's, serving a life sentence along with her husband. So they wiped our season. I'll send you the highlight reel, because they didn't want to glorify her, which I absolutely understood. Like,
oh my God,
we were getting ready to go on a reunion trip to Tennessee, and I could have been roommates with a murderer.
She was adopting little kids and killed one. Oh,
she had 2 teenage sons, and she wanted to adopt a little girl, and they said it's a package deal. The little girl has 2 older brothers, and she ended up ultimately beating her to death. And it came out in the trial.
It's terrible.
God, it's hard to even talk about, because she didn't eat her pancakes fast enough. I mean, it's just tragic.
That is terrible.
So you can't find that season.
Send it to me, because I want to see you.
I'll send you the highlight reel.
Send it to me too. Send it to me too.
I'll share it with you.
It's pretty fun. And just remember when you watch it that I know that fish isn't Chinese. Okay. I had a Jessica Simpson tuna is tuna chicken moment, but it was all for show.
I love it. I love it. So what do you think you okay, let me see if I can word this correctly. In everybody's mind, we go through something when we're struggling. What is it that was your drive that got you to keep moving forward, to keep thinking bigger, to keep trying to break that barrier for yourself and not be sucked down and stay where people tried to keep you?
Right. Today I choose people that choose me. If I'm too much for people, they're not my people.
That's beautiful.
My circle is tighter.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my circle is much tighter. I think that sometimes we feel like we're like in this dark place. And I remember feeling like I was being buried alive. Like you can almost feel the dirt just being thrown on your face underground. And then I realized after doing this like autopsy on my life that I was actually being planted. I wasn't being buried. And I had to disrupt my soil, and I'm a farmer's daughter. I can relate to that. I mean, we didn't have a paycheck for 7 months that we were in real estate. And my dad, I called him. He was one of the only people that really supported us becoming self-employed. And he said to me, Denise, what have you seen me do my entire life? And I said, plant, nurture, plow, disc, then the harvest. And he said, you're doing everything. The harvest is going to come. The manifestation's going to come. Keep the faith, keep believing, keep doing the activities, be consistent. And then the last 5 months of the year, we sold 40 homes. And I think the average agent sells 4 to 8 a year. And to date, we've sold just under
Wow.
700 houses in 10 years with just the two of us, not a big team. And so I know I'm where I'm supposed to be.
That's
And
amazing.
for me,
That's awesome.
Failure has been my biggest teacher, not my gravedigger, by choice. Like you said, you know, I I'm not going to walk around with a chip on my shoulder. That's not the life I choose. And
Right.
for me, God has used the failures and trials and mistakes and all the grit and all the mess and all the dirt not to hinder me like I used to think. It made me damaged and no good and useless. He has used it to give me credibility so that I can be like a beacon of hope and a lighthouse to others. And that's been kind of my mission. I don't have to prove myself anymore. I've accomplished a lot. If I died tomorrow, I think that I've accomplished a lot. And that's hard to get to sometimes because I always move to the next thing. Like, oh, I did this. Now I'm going to go do this. And you don't even sit and savor the moments and the achievements that you have because you're always jumping to the next lily pad. And I really try not to do that anymore. I became a certified divorce real estate expert and a family law mediator because I have such an empathy for people going through divorce. And it is something I feel extremely passionate about, getting people through it as unscathed as possible. And selling your house, it's like going through surgery with no anesthesia. It's so bad.
It's hard.
I've found treasure and trauma, not when you're going through it. When you're going through it, you're like, oh my God, it's like an elephant on your back.
Yeah.
But when you get through it and you can look back in retrospect, I'm like, it was a gift to me because it truly, going back to Kathy and committing to doing self-help, it really built a warrior in me that I would never have discovered or known and tapped into if I wouldn't have gone through all of that. And so I have to be thankful for it at the end of the day.
That's great. I love that. I think that a lot of people can't see past how hard the moment is, how depressed it makes you feel, how much you feel like you might be a failure, when I don't think failure is a bad thing. I think failure shows us what we're capable of doing, that we're still trying, that we're still moving forward. I think that you should use your failures to project you into
it's a fuel, it's a propellant.
Yeah.
And even though I waited 2 decades to do it, if you think back, I wouldn't have been able to succeed at the time I wanted to get my license because I had no one around me that believed in me. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't even know who I was anymore. And so it was in the perfect time with the perfect man, it just all, and it didn't come easy. When people look at us now, they're like, oh, well, what a fairy tale. It wasn't always a fairy tale. For over a decade, it was, a living hell, basically. So, it's not an overnight success for sure.
Yeah.
And every day we have to be intentional, right? No matter what industry we're in, we're grinding. And like you guys are talking about how your day has been so long, but I will tell you, you guys, I get a lot of energy just from you ladies, because I was pooped. I'm hosting a show now called American Dream. And I'm like, what a cool thing. Because I wanted to have the American Dream so bad. Now I'm hosting a show called The American Dream, and I get to go around and highlight stories of other people living that American dream. So it's so cool how things happen. Yeah. And how things manifest.
Yeah. Do you actually practice manifesting? Because I'm the manifester.
I think you are probably more of an expert than I am. It sounds like you are like on another level. Probably use some lessons from you.
Well, actually, it's funny.
I have a dream vision board. Do you have a?
I have a vision board.
Jada does vision boards. I do. I do other practices. They're similar to vision boards, but it's not. I'm actually starting an app. I'm in the midst of creating an app right now. I have 6 apps that we're creating.
Oh my gosh.
3 of them are mine. 3 of them are another woman that I met through a manifesting conference.
Wow.
And she called me and asked me to join her, be business partners with her. She is a divorce family law attorney. And
Really?
she had 3 ideas that she pitched to me, and I said, "Those are apps." And so we're teaming up, and we're going to be doing these. I can't talk about them yet. But mine, I can't talk about one of them yet because I've got to
Don't want
protect.
anyone to copy it. Yeah, I get
I'm
it.
still protecting it. But one in
Mm.
particular that I am doing that it's about manifesting is Sacred Spa, and I'm building it right now.
Mhm.
And it's to help people move forward in their lives with manifesting and how to use the negative to project to
Mhm.
catapult
propellant.
yourself. Yeah.
Propellant. Yeah.
And it's how to get through a breakup and a divorce, and how do I manifest all these things to go away and bring in all these
Mhm.
other things, and what's the new moon, how is it different from a full moon, and why these differences matter, and things that you can keep doing. And it's keeping the faith no matter what. It's
Yeah.
living as if it's already here, all
Mhm.
of it. And when you're doing that, when it is here, it's just really magical, it's really
Yeah, that's
magical.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. So tell us what you're doing. My cat's decided she has
Oh,
to be
I
on
love
right
that you're a
now.
cat lady. I am too. My cat's sitting beside me.
Look at her, she's like, I want to say
Oh,
something.
Aw.
she wants to be a star.
She is a star. She's a crazy cat. So what are you now, when you're someone like yourself, you're never staying stagnant. You are
No.
constantly ever evolving and doing things. So I'm going to get a tail in the face. What's your next thing? What are you
Um,
moving towards?
Well, right now I'm hosting the American Dream, selling Oklahoma City, and I just published my first book, Out of the Box. And I just, I wasn't even worried. If I sell a book, if I sell 1 million, I felt like I was supposed to write this book. It was like something I needed to give birth to. And
Mhm.
so I wrote it during COVID, and I just wanted to share the, unique marketing approaches we've used to exponentially grow. And it's for any industry. That's been really heavy on my heart, to help women. It's like I want to be the type of woman that helps other women
Yep.
realize they can do it too. And
That's
so
great.
moving from having to prove myself to being really purposeful, I volunteer teach at colleges and high schools, and I do podcast guesting. That kind of really fills my cup.
That's great.
Doing those things for me. I'm like you. I like to hear stories. I'm inspired by other
Mhm.
people and their energy and their
Mhm.
manifestations and all of that. And so that has
I
been
love it.
something that I really enjoy doing. And of course,
Mhm.
I've been promoting my book, and in that I've been coaching some realtors. So it's been
So
good.
your book is called Out of the Box?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, where are we finding it? Because I have to read it.
You can find it on Amazon. It's easy to find.
So I'm going to put it in the show thing, Out of the Box, Amazon.
I would love to hear your feedback. Anyone that's listening, I really do like constructive feedback, because I'm going to
Oh, I
write
will
another
definitely
book.
read it.
Yeah, I'd love a
Yeah.
review and
So
feedback. That would be
DJ, if you
incredible.
could do that. I'm going to have DJ put that together and scroll that so people can see where to get your book. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to get it because I love supporting my guests and women. I'm all about
Aw.
women empowerment.
Yes.
Society really put women against each other for a very long
Yeah,
time
they did.
because they
Yeah.
were afraid of the power in the numbers of
Yes.
women getting together. Now
Mhm.
we are there. We are
I love
there.
it.
And it gives us the opportunity.
Yeah.
My hair is doing weird shit today. It gives us
I
the
feel like my
opportunity.
lighting is weird. I think it's because it's almost 9:00 here, and I'm like, yeah.
I know. Jade is like, so I'm all about helping, and I love hearing your story. It's so good. And
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
love knowing that. I like people to hear that you can make it. That no matter, everybody could tell you a whole bunch of shit
Yeah.
that you're
Everyone
not
has a
capable.
story.
But you know what? When it comes down to it, all that we need is to believe in ourselves. That's it. That's all it takes. If you can believe in yourself, everyone else will fall in line, because we're all our own worst critics.
You might have to dump your tribe. I mean, I felt like everybody was plucked out of my life, but new people were transplanted in my life for that season. And I was intentional about surrounding myself with people that would hold our feet to the fire, be the first with pom-poms in their pocket to celebrate, small victories. But we're there for us, not just to be yes men.
Yes.
And people that are living life beautifully, personally and professionally, because to me, there's a lot of really successful people and they don't have any energy at night when it comes to their home life, and their personal lives suck. Well, I don't want that.
Right.
I want to have the whole enchilada. I've waited a long time for happiness, and I really want to savor and be intentional about not letting my career swallow my relationships.
That's so beautiful.
That is beautiful. I agree with you, Jada.
It's hard.
What you just said, Denise, is really what I was saying at the beginning of the show. When we're asking for the right things that are coming into our lives, and it doesn't matter what it is, if you want it, it's the right thing for you. When we're asking for those things, okay, I have an itch on my ankle and my cat keeps like rubbing against them. Like, give me a minute, okay? When we're asking for these things, we have to be prepared for things to be removed that doesn't serve us. And we have to realize that those are being removed for a reason, to let it go. And that can mean people. It's meant family for me. It's meant friends. Those things have to be removed to bring in the things. And you're never going to really be alone. When you get rid of a tribe, another tribe's coming.
I believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen it happen in my life. I mean, I went from having basically no one in it to it being so big that I've had to tighten it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I love it. I want to be on Oprah's show. I always dreamed about being on Oprah's show. So I'm
She's still doing a podcast. I was thinking
She
about
is.
I should message her and say, you don't remember me because you had a million guests, but just like sharing with her.
You never know. You could have made an impact on
You
people.
never know.
And you could have really made an impact on her. You never know. I think that you, Denise, make more of an impact than you ever give yourself credit for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love your
shine.
story. Your story's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
shine.
Thank you. I just hope that I can inspire others, to take the leap of faith.
Stop hoping.
Believing.
And believe.
Manifesting.
Yes.
That you do. Because I'm going to tell you now, you made an impact on me when I saw you, and I immediately had to have you on the show. And I know it's been a little bit of time, and we went back and forth for a while.
I know, but I was like, oh my gosh, I get to be on her show.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I just want you to know that you are really such a beautiful, special person, and you make a bigger impact than you can ever imagine. And I'm sure deep down you know that. Yeah. So thank you. Well, I appreciate you being on my show. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be here.
It was so nice to meet you both.
Yes, I would love to talk to you more. So we're gonna do that.
And I'll send you the highlight reel of the
You're
show.
Welcome. Anytime you want to come and talk about something, we are here. You are welcome to come and be back. You're sister for life. You're welcome to be back. So, with that being said, Jada, you're always the queen of co-hosts. Thank you for being here again today.
You're welcome.
And so our guests, thank you for being here. Denise, you're beautiful. Our people who come and watch us every week, thank you for being here every week. Thank you for supporting us. And we're going to be here again, same time, same place next week. And until then, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, Like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.